Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Grab for Business webinar. First and foremost, thank you to all of you that registered and have actually made it to join us today. I hope everyone has had a good day so far, and I assure you that it is about to get better. We have a great lineup of speakers today that will be sharing with us ways to make your business transport easy. Let me very quickly introduce myself. My name is Melissa, and I will be your host for today. As for our panel of speakers, joining us today is Grab for Businesses Client Acquisition and Management Manager Gail Tay, and Grab for Business Key Account Manager Glynis Lee. Before I hand it over to our speakers, I would just like to go through the agenda for this webinar. We will begin with a welcome note by Gail, followed by an introduction to Grab for Business and some insightful client studies as well. We will then end today's webinar with a Q&A session. On that note, I would just like to inform everyone that you will be able to put in your questions in the Q&A section throughout the webinar, and our speakers will address them during the Q&A session at the end. So without further ado, I would like to call on Gail to say a few words. Take it away, Gail.
Thank you, Melissa. Hello and welcome to today's sessions. Thank you for taking the time to join us today. I'm Gail, the team manager of Grab for Business. Today, we will cover the key benefits of what Grab for Business can do for you, so you can learn how to save on business transport and also take charge of your employees' expenses with us. So if you are interested to have more information after today's sessions, please feel free to drop your contact details and we'll follow up after today's sharing. So without further ado, let me introduce you to the GFB expert in the F&B sectors, Glynis Lee, to take you through today's session.
Thank you, Gail and Melissa, for opening up the session. Good afternoon to all of you online. I am Glynis, a key account manager at Grab for Business, and I manage all clients in the F&B industry. Thank you for taking your time to join us today, and I hope by the end of this session, you will learn and understand how Grab for Business is able to simplify your current claim process. I believe Grab is no stranger to all of you, as we are the prominent transportation platform in Singapore. And over the past few years, apart from transportation, we have also introduced Grab Food, Grab Mart, and Grab Express services. You may also have heard of Grab for Business, but perhaps you may be unsure of our services, features, and how your company can utilize the platform to drive your business forward. I will first start off by sharing about Grab for Business before moving on to the interesting policy settings and finally wrapping up with a few common use cases within the F&B industry, which I am sure all of you will be able to relate to. Okay. In short, Grab for Business is an online portal where all of the employees' day-to-day business claims can be consolidated and managed easily. All of the 4 Grab services mentioned in this slide are available for usage, and they can be charged directly to the company instead of having the employees to pay first and seek for reimbursement. This saves time, effort, and cost to process all business claims, and it benefits everyone within the company. It not only benefits the HR or finance team, as there is no need to sift through manual receipts and then cross-checking them against company policies. There will only be one detailed report and one payment to process on a monthly basis at the company level. Also, for employees, they do not need to submit manual receipts, and it also saves time for the approvers because they don't have to verify and justify before they approve of the claims. So this is possible because Grab for Business has features such as time, location policies that are put in place to ensure control and governance when employees charge the rights to the company. On a monthly basis, we have more than 1 million corporate rights taken on our platform.
I'm sorry, you're muted. Okay.
Thank you, Gail and Melissa, for opening up the session, and a good afternoon to all of you online. Oh, sorry on that. Okay, so let me continue from here. On a monthly basis, we have more than 1 million corporate rights taken on our platform, and this equates to approximately 188,000 hours and $10 million in cost savings just from business claims processing. Later in the session, I will share in greater details on these policies and how they can be applied. So to bring more context to F&B, I understand that for most of the F&B companies under my care, transportation is the most commonly used Grab services due to the nature of the business. Some of the use cases will be, example, late night transportation for employees after 11 p.m. where there are no public transportation available, or for cluster managers who are required to travel to different outlets for site visits, and even for some where there are corporate events that requires employees to physically deliver and set up at the location. So before I go on to share more about portal features, I would like to take some time to do a simple poll with all of you online. So I would like to invite all of you to select your choice on the screen. So the question for the poll is, which of the following services are valid for transportation claims at your company today? So the first is late night transport. Second, cluster managers transport to outlets for site visits. And lastly, transportation for event setup. So, okay, we'll take about another 10 seconds for everybody to put in a poll. Okay, I think we can end the poll here and look at the results. Right, seems like there's a tie for cluster managers transport to outlets and also for transportation for event setup. So it is true. I mean, most of the F&Bs, because there are many outlets in Singapore, so a lot of times due to the scale of the F&B operations, managers would have to travel, travel around, and when there are some emergency that requires the outlet managers to be present, then they will have to be at the outlet, and then the transportation claims will have to be accounted for. So later in this session, I will also share how policies can be managed accordingly. Okay, so moving on, there are three main functions for administrators on the portal. And in this case, the administrators need not only refer to HR, finance, or it also includes operation managers, depending on your company's arrangement. Firstly, the administrators will be able to manage the employees, such as adding them, removing, or editing any of the employees' details on the portal. Secondly, administrators will also be able to set policies such that employees can only charge to the company when they are using Grab services within the set boundaries. And lastly, all spend reports for all the Grab services are available in real time once the services are completed. And the detailed reporting will be posted onto the portal such that the administrators can download and refer to them at any point in time. So these will come in very handy if you need a midway check, especially for the finance team, to find out how much has the company charged so far for all the Grab services. All in all, for company administrators, you'll be able to manage employees, policy settings, and also download the reports for the overall company's claim submission. Also, at this point, I'm sure most of you will be curious to see how the Grab for Business portal looks like. So on the screen, you'll be able to see the portal's dashboard. We have a very intuitive and interactive user interface where it allows you to toggle easily between downloading of the reports to managing of the employees and even mending the policies and settings. So I would like to also mention that once these changes are made on the portal, they will be automatically synced to the user's Grab app, allowing managing of the portal very effortless for the administrators. Employee management is also simple, as we allow for the option of both uploading a mass bulk of employees' details, and also for individual upload, individual addition if required. And also when it comes to removing or editing information, they can be done instantly on the portal. And also not forgetting, in order for better management, we would also recommend that employees are grouped based on their departments or teams, as long as it can be easily identified and it adds value to finance when they are referring to the reports. So especially if you have an employee who is like switching from outlet A to outlet B, you can simply go into the portal and edit the employees grouping so that then they will be tagged to the outlet B instead for all the policies accordingly. So next, for policy settings, which I mentioned earlier, policy settings are can be put or applied to different groups within your company. And as you may see, there are 6 different policies that the company can regulate. And this includes, number 1, time. So we could specify the time period that the employees can take the ride and charge to the company. And secondly, for location, we could fence the pickup or drop-off location at a specific address. So for example, if this employee is only allowed to take the ride to and from the workplace, we can then set a location policy such that they can only pick up from the workplace address. And thirdly, for service type, when it is required, companies can also indicate which are the fleets that the employees can take on Grab. So this would refer to certain scenarios where companies only allow employees to take just Grab, Grab Car, and Grab Taxi. And in this case, if the employees choose to select Grab Premium, for example, the user will be informed that they cannot choose this fleet and they will not be able to proceed with the booking on the Grab app. And for food allowance, being the 4th policy available, food allowance can be put in place to ensure that food orders do not exceed certain amount, or if you have a certain budget for each employee, then this can be applied. So perhaps if you have an admin who orders food on behalf of the company for birthdays or for company internal events, food allowance can be put in place for better control of this usage. And the 5th one would be trip voucher code. This is an interesting feature and it provides additional layer of control. So what it is that it is essentially a code that is generated by the admins on the portal instantly and is given to employees when they are required to engage Grab services. So this works in addition to any time and location policies that are already in place. In this case, if you choose to mandate certain employees to input trip voucher code, the employees would have to request from the administrators for the trip voucher codes before booking their rides. And the last policies that I'd like to introduce is spend limits. So if you are afraid of your employees overspending for transportations, for spend limits, these can be put in place at an individual level or at a department level. And if you do have a budget for each of them, then it will be very relevant and useful, as these spend limits will be automatically calculated and tabulated on the platform. So the spend limits can also be easily amended on the portal should there be a need for like an increase in the spend limit. So if there is a case where you need to increase for certain managers because due to certain circumstances within the month that they need to use, they need to have extra credit to take the rides, then you can go into the portal and update the spend limit. And then this will be instantly updated and then allowing the user to make the next booking. Many of these, many of the F&B companies have policies in place to lessen the chance of any misused rights, or also to reduce the chance of paying additional for rights that are not supposed to be charged to the company. As compared to processing of manual receipts, some of them do not have pickup or drop-off locations indicated. So many approvers can take it as face value, and instead of having the accurate details for verification. Of course, all of these policies are optional, and it really depends on the requirements of your companies and to activate those that would add value to your current process. Here brings us to poll number 2. And after sharing all about the policies, I would like to also invite you to share some of your thoughts on our policies features. So please do select the policy types that your company regulates today, and which do you think would be very useful for your company? Yeah, so we also spend a little bit of time here for you to put in your options for the service policies. Yeah, so which policy do you think, or policies do you think would be very useful to manage within your company today? Okay, I think we can end the poll here. All right, and it seems like time is the winner for the policies. Okay, so yeah, I think everyone resonates very well with time policies, as these settings would significantly help to fence the time and to prevent, to put the first layer of control in place. And next, on the last part for administrators, the last function actually, on this portal, you'll also be able to download the reports, and this is frequently used by mostly HR and finance team. So our reports provide like high-level details of all bookings, and they will be available for download 24/7 in 2 different formats to facilitate your internal reporting process. So the 2 different formats are PDF and CSV. PDF mainly for easy referencing, and CSV if you need to do additional data sorting. So you may take a look at the details that are shared. They include employee's name, date, time, fare, payment method, and addresses, which refers to pickup and drop-off location, and other details such as driver's information and booking code. And next, for setup, I know I've been sharing a lot about the policies, and if you think that there are too many policies which will complicate or make setting up very tough, no, it actually only takes 4 simple steps to get started. So first, you will have to add the employees. So like I mentioned earlier, in the employee management slide, there will be 2 options by either adding them individually or by uploading a bulk CSV file. So once the employees are added, you can then continue to add time, location, and other service type policies where required. For the first time setup, you also need to select the company's preferred payment method. So it's either corporate billing or corporate credit card. And once that is also completed, the users will be able to see or view that there is a corporate payment being set up on their Grab app. So they will be able to start booking their Grab rides and charge to the company. So policies and payment selection is only required at the start when setting up the company's account, and moving on, the only maintenance required will be the employee list. Okay, and moving on for employees, once the administrators have also set up the required, the policies will be synchronized onto the user's Grab app. So one important thing to highlight over here is that for employees, there is no need to download another application or use another platform for corporate rides. They will only need to use their current Grab app and complete these 4 steps to book a ride. So first of all, users will have to enter the pickup and the drop-off location and proceed to change from personal to a corporate tagging. So at this point, if required, the users will then input the trip voucher code or trip description if mandated by the company before booking the ride. As long as the users tag the rides correctly, it is very simple to book and charge to the company. So not to worry that it will be very hard to educate the employees on the usage of the corporate function. Moving on, I will also share 3 different use cases on how existing F&B clients are utilizing Grab for Business. The first use case is one of our existing F&B clients, which is a drinking place that operates past 12 a.m. and there are no public transport available for the employees. And also at the same time, each of these outlets is managed separately by individual outlet managers. And where possible, the company will also prefer that the employees carpool to save on costs. So in this case, for control of the night transportation, the employees are fenced by time and location policies so that they can only take within this specific time from the specific location. And for carpooling is also possible because for Just Grab and Grab Car, we do allow 2 drop-offs and at a flat fare, while Grab Taxi is a metered fare, but it allows up to 4 drop-offs depending on the passenger capacity of the vehicle. And furthermore, for decentralized and a more efficient method to manage a huge pool of employees, this F&B chose to appoint the outlet managers as the group admins. So in this case, the outlet managers have limited access to the company settings such as policies and payment, but definitely they will be able to manage their own groups employees. So he will be able to add, remove, and edit certain employee details as and when required. And for use case number 2 over here, we have another scenario whereby F&B chain has cluster managers who are required to travel to multiple outlets for site visits. So on a regular basis, this is another requirement whereby the HQ team sends marketing and operation materials to the outlet. So in this case, time policies and trip description functions can be enabled for the cluster managers. Not only will they be bounded by the time that they can travel and charge to the company, they will also be mandated to fill in other details for the reason to travel. So this would play a significant part when it comes to validation and verification for the HR and finance team. So when they are processing the claim, when they're processing the payment and referring to the report, they will see, oh, okay, for example, there will be a trip description that says covering shift at Orchard outlet from 2 to 6 p.m. So it makes it more efficient for both the manager and also finance, as there will be lesser need to reach out to the managers individually to ask for justification. And additionally, for this company, because they also deliver marketing and operation materials to the outlets by hand, this not only disrupts the daily duties of these officers, but it also incurs a two-way transportation cost. So Grab Express can be used to replace this process to save time and cost for these deliveries. So Grab Express also offers a 4-hour delivery service, and companies can also opt for multiple drop-offs for non-urgent deliveries. Now, moving on to the last use case, this is a company whereby they do large corporate orders, and from time to time, they will be able to set up events physically on site for dessert tables and like simple buffet lines. So instead of employing a permanent driver or pay for an ad hoc, like a large vehicle to accommodate to the large bulky delivery items, this company chose to use GrabCar 6, which is just nice good size to fulfill this job. So for easier referencing and accounting of the trips, we can also put like time policies and trip description for the employees will be traveling to complete the order. So for this particular F&B organization, they would include the invoice number or like the DO, delivery order number, for easier reference by the finance team. So when finance pick up the report, they will know that, oh, okay, this trip was made because there is a need to set up the event physically, and this is the invoice that was related to this order. So with these 3 use cases, I believe that it has given you additional insights on how Grab for Business will benefit both the company and the employees with an easier and streamlined process to manage business transportation claims. So lastly, before I pass the time over to Gil for Q&A, I would like to take the opportunity to also share that at Grab for Business, we also provide Grab Gifts vouchers that are widely used for external and internal events. So this includes gifting vouchers to promote brand awareness for any service recovery or even to build brand loyalty. And more so, our recurring corporate clients have also shared that employees have voted for Grab Gifts as the top choice of gifts because it is practical and essential for daily usage. So as mentioned by Gail earlier on the surprise, we do have a corporate bulk purchase discount and the flexibility to draw down the vouchers within an extended period of time. So how better is it to have cost savings while you incentivize both internal and external stakeholders? So do reach out to either myself or Gil if you'd like to find out more on how we can customize these Grab Gifts accordingly to your requirement. Now, I would like to hand over the time to Gil for Q&A and to address all of your questions. So Gil, over to you, and thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Glynis, for sharing such a concise and informative sessions that allow our audience to have a glimpse of how control and streamline their corporate expenses with GFB. So we have some time now to address the commonly asked questions. Okay, so for questions 1, what are the payment options available for corporates? And the portion B will be whether will there be additional fees if I charge all company rights to a corporate credit card? So the answer for this will be our payment options are corporate billing with 30 days payment term and credit card options. So you can choose either or. And currently there's no admin fee for credit card options. So I hope that I answered that commonly asked question on 1. Okay, so let's move on to question 2. Will my company be able to see all my personal rights or transactions if I'm added as a corporate user? So what I understand for admins are the concerns of PDPA, that they don't want to view any employee's personal right. So for Grab for Business, we only capture business rights and only company admins are able to view that. So all personal rights will not be shown. All right. Okay, let's go for question 3. So question 3, can I control the time policies or the time policies for certain groups of employees and not impose these policies for another? Yes, the answer is yes. And you can customize the policies based on your requirements. So maybe I give you a very quick example. For instance, you have 2 time policies for one team because they need to travel from maybe 9 to 6. Then thereafter, there is a OT time that they need to travel as well. So you can customize based on your group requirements, and you can have it for this specific group. Maybe your management team, they need to travel site to site. You cannot have some time policies that are fencing them. So you don't set policies at all for the different groups. So it's really up to your company admins to decide which policies that you all want to adopt and work best for your HR requirements. All right, so question 4. Why would I choose Grab as compared to other transportations provider? This is a interesting questions, and I hope that I can really help you to see a bigger pictures of why choose Grab for Business as a whole. So Grab for Business provide more than 16 different types of vehicles, from our commonly used like Just Grab options to the standard taxis, or even like Grab car 6-seaters. We have different varieties for your occasions. So for instance, if you want to have a premium car to pick up your VIP, we do have that fleet type as well. So it's really different occasions require different vehicles where Grab for Business can have this sweet spot for you. So we have come to our end of our sessions. So please feel free to reach out to Glynis and myself if you'd like to have a GFP demonstrations with your team. So maybe Alex, the next slide, you can see our contact details here. Thank you, and we look forward to seeing you again.